we must know that there are various types of pranayamas. But broadly speaking, there are two varieties of pranayam: Sahit Kumbhak and Keval Kumbhak. You will be taught about these Kumbhakas in detail later on, but just to understand, prima facie, you should know these two terms: Sahit Kumbhak and Keval. Keval Kumbhak. Now first understand the meaning of Kumbhak. Kumbhak means withholding of the breath. We know of inhalation and exhalations, but that time during which we neither inhale nor exhale is Kumbhak. That means withholding of the breath is Kumbhak. So all pranayamas are called Kumbhakas because Patanjali has defined pranayam that there will be always three aspects of pranayam, aspects in pranayam: inhalation, exhalation and retention of breath. So that retention of breath is Kumbhak. Inhalation in Sanskrit is known as Purak, and exhalation in Sanskrit is known as Rechak. Purak, P-U-R-A-K. And Rechak, R-E-C-H-A-K. Purak means inhalation, Rechak means exhalation, and in between there is retention of breath. Now Sahit Kumbhak means with. Now you understand that Sahit Kumbhak means with retention of breath. Those pranayamas which are practiced with retention of breath, and with retention of breath means that there are inhalations and exhalations apart from that, apart from retention. So in Sahit Kumbhak, all the three components of pranayam exist: inhalation, exhalation and Kumbhak. But in Keval Kumbhak, Keval means only, and Kumbhak is retention of breath. In only retention of breath means only retention of breath, nothing else. Means no exhalation, no inhalation. So this Keval Kumbhak occurs when Ida and Pingala unite. Then no more inhalation and exhalations are required. There will be only retention of breath. And that Keval Kumbhak, when is established, then the prana is in Sushumna, the middle channel. Then no more inhalation, exhalations are required. But so far as Ida and Pingala are still working, there will be inhalations, exhalations. But first stop inhalation and exhalation willfully and introduce a break in between. Introduce Kumbhak, the third part of pranayam. In normal breathing we do not have third part, and so it is not pranayam. It's normal breathing. Pranayam is a special kind of breathing where we introduce a third part, Kumbhak, that is retention of breath. So practice of pranayam is important in bringing about that union between Ida and Pingala, between moon nadi and sun nadi. Now if you read the textbooks on Hatha Yoga, it says that practice pranayama. But before you practice pranayama, they say asana jaya kuryat tat paschat pranayamam samabhyaset. Means asana jaya means gain mastery over the asana first. Tat paschat, after that pranayamam samabhyaset, then do the practice of pranayama. So first we must master the asana, posture. What is asana jaya? Asana jaya is sthira sukham asanam. Patanjali has defined asana like that. Sthir means steady. Sukham means comfortable. Asanam, sit. Steady, comfortable sit is asana. So when you begin practice of pranayama, first you must attain this type of asana, steady and comfortable. But the definition is so simple that we overlook its real import. Here it means steady means absolutely steady. And that steadiness is equated with kastavat sthirata. Kasta means wood. Kastavat means wood-like. Take the wooden stool. How steady is it? Does it ever move? Wooden stool on which this speaker is. So, like wooden material, you should become steady and yet sukham, comfortable. Now you sit steady like that and let me see whether you are comfortable even for 5 minutes. You won't be. Even for 5 minutes. You can't be that steady like a wood. And if you perforce will keep yourself steady, then it will be sthira dukkhamasana, not comfortable but miserable posture. So this is the first thing one must keep in mind. So yoga scriptures say that first master the asana. You should be able to sit in a particular posture comfortably for long duration till you practice pranayama, so that your whole attention is given to prana and pranic flow in the body while doing pranayama. Otherwise your attention is 50% in posture and 50% in this and 50% in shop and 50% in job and 50% somewhere else. So that then there is no disturbance of the physical body. And that is what I say, that you must lose your consciousness of the gross body. When you lose the consciousness of gross body, your asana, seat, becomes stable, sthira, as it is mentioned here. Now I'll give you another analogy. As I gave the analogy that you should be steady like the stool. Now put the stool and kick it. What will happen? It will topple, no? And how it will topple? It will topple this way and then make a sound, tuck. Now you sit steady in your asana. I'll come and push you a little, and you will, and again regain. You don't fall like a stool. You resist falling. And even if you fall, if I push you a little further, then you will fall in such a way that you don't make a sound and you don't hurt yourself. That flexibility of the body, you see, comes because you are still, your consciousness is identified with the gross body. You understand me? But when your consciousness is not with the gross body, your body also will be stiff like wood. And if I come and kick, your body also will fall like a stool, making a sound, tuck. The defense mechanism doesn't work now. So that is kastavat sthirta. Kastavat, kasta means wood. Kastavat means like wood. Steady like wood. When the identity with the gross body is lost, our body becomes kastavat. Look at the corpse, dead body. Make it seated with crossed legs and then push the dead body. Will it fall like a living body? It will fall like a stool. So that is how you have to become. It means that we have to die before doing pranayama. Are we ready? No. Okay, then let me show you some easier way. Practically, yoga is a process of death. That is what scriptures say. And many saints have written in bhajan that मरने से पहले मर जावे सो ही अमर पद पावे. He will be able to understand. मरने से पहले मर जावे means one who dies before death, so he amar pad pave. He gains liberation and immortality. So in a short line, what great truth the bhaktas, these sages have said. So one has to die. Yes, first, when one day this gross body we will live. At that time we will not be wanting to live, but we will have to live. But there is a way out, that we can learn that art of leaving the body before death also, and again still live in it. That sort of death do you want to live? Do you want to learn? Tell me. Then I'll teach. You see, there is a bhajan of Gorakshanath. Gorakshanath you have heard, great yogi. There is a book, textbook on yoga, Goraksha Samhita. That Gorakshanath, and the first line says, मरो है जोगी मरो, मरण है मीठा, ऐसी मरणी मरो जैसी गोरख ने मरी दीठा. Beautiful. He says, yes, maro hai jogi maro. Hey jogi means, oh yogi, maro, die. Maro, hey jogi maro, die. Oh yogi, die. Maran hai mitha. Death is very sweet, he says. But he says, aise marane maro, but die in such a way, jaisi Gorakh ne mari ditha, as Gorakh has done that death. So Gorakh says, I will teach you that art of death. It's very sweet. So die, oh yogi, die if you want to become a yogi. And that is this, losing consciousness of the physical body totally, but yet not leaving this physical body, but withdrawing the consciousness deep within into the subtle body, so that you totally become forgetful about the physical body. Isn't it a death? It is as good as death at that time. But at the time of death, what happens? Our subtle body comes out of the gross body. And subtle body, causal body, and the soul within, they all go away. And only dead body, the gross body, remains here on the earth. And we know what we do about it at the end. Hindus will burn it, and you people will put it in a coffin and put underground, bury it. So it has no value once it dies. So at the time of death, other two bodies and the soul, spirit, they leave it. Only the corpse remain, only the gross body. So gross body has that importance. So don't be so much attached to it. You live much longer in causal and subtle body than the gross. Now, do you have the fear of death? Tell me. Still? Okay. I tell you, you will not die. Even after leaving the gross body, you are not to die. You will be living, you will be just as alive in causal body and subtle body. So, death is good, you see. God gives us a better new body in place of the worn out one. As we have many clothes, and when they become worn out, what do? We throw away and purchase a new one. And that we do with great pleasure, isn't it? So God also keeps watch on us. And one day God will say, hey, your body is much worn out. Give it up, I am giving you another one. But we say, no, I don't want to give it up. But we forget. You see, it's a good bargain. You have seen, New model. You have heard this story in Arabian Nights. And Aladdin, new lamp for the old. And who didn't want? Tell me. Everybody wants new lamp for the old. If some hawker comes to give you some brand new thing in place of old, everybody will exchange. But when God talks about it and tells you that new body for old, you say, no, go away, we don't want new body. He is giving us new body, means rebirth, first class, pure body. And again we make it impure. Why? Eating. So, the living of the gross body makes gross body just totally inert. But here in yoga, you just withdraw your consciousness within so that consciousness doesn't function at gross level. So it will be as good as corpse. And yet, when you again come into extroverted consciousness, you are again alive in the same. So that's why Gorakshnath says, "O yogi, die. Death is very sweet, but die in the way in which Gorakshnath has done it." So we want to die in that way. But yet nobody agrees with me. Nobody is ready to die. Okay, then we will take some time before dying, okay? So the body should become like a wood before we are able to really practice pranayama. Now you tell me how difficult pranayama is. And I am not telling out of my yoga only. I am telling out of experience as well as out of the scriptures. I am using these words from scriptures. So, what I wanted to tell is that asana and pranayama and hatha yoga, about which you might have learnt or heard or read, is not final. There is much depth in it. And as you understand that, then you will be able to understand Hatha Yoga much better. So now he says that before, the scriptures say that before practicing pranayam, you must master this asana. And so, asana is considered to be the first step in Hatha Yoga. Gorakshnath himself has written that asana is the first step of Hatha Yoga, and so one must begin with it. Now, when you begin with asana being the first step, again read what the scriptures say about practice of asana, how to begin and what to do. So they say that mitaharam vina yastu yogarambam karyet nana rogo bhavettasya kaschid yoga na siddhyati. Means mitaharam vina yastu yogarambam tu karyet. Means one who begins yoga without observing mitahar, moderation in diet. For him, nana rogo bhavettasya, he will get various types of diseases in place of yoga, but he will not become a yogi. Why the scriptures have to give this special stanza? We must think. Nothing should be ignored out of the scriptures. Unless you first practice mitahar, moderation in diet, all your effort at practice of asana or pranayam will be futile. It's not going to lead you any further on the path of yoga, but on the contrary, it can create various types of diseases. So for a practitioner of asana and pranayam, moderation in diet is a must. So now we come to moderation in diet. How will you do that? Tell me. That's very difficult. As Amritji was telling, in the West, it is very difficult.
In the West, and we dig our own graves with our own teeth.
Yes.
We are expert at it.
Yes. But don't worry. Amritji says it is, in the West it is difficult, but in East also it is as difficult. So crows are black everywhere. Scriptures also tell what is mitahar. They say, our belly, we have jathar, stomach in our belly, and stomach has a specific size. So everybody's mitahar will depend upon his size of his stomach. The scriptures say that fill your stomach 50% by solid food. 1/4, that is 25% by liquid food, and keep 1/4, 25% empty. Why should you keep it empty? Tell me. 1/2 is filled with solid food, 1/4 with liquid food, and 1/4 is kept empty. Scriptures say, keep that much part empty where the prana can go and digest your food. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Gita you have heard about, no? In Gita, Lord Krishna says, prana panam samayuttam pachami annam chaturvidam. Pranapanam. Pranapanam means pranapanam. Samayuttam, mixing the prana with apan. You will learn later on that there are various types of vital airs, pranas. One is prana, another is apan, third is saman, then vyan and udan. 5 major pranas. You will learn later on when it comes to, but just now you must understand a little about it. So prana and apan are 2 vital airs. Pranapanam samayuttam. Sam means in equal proportion. Ayuttam means bringing together. By bringing together prana and apan, vital airs, in equal proportion, pachami annam chaturvidam, I digest different kinds of food. That's what Lord Krishna says. Now, when prana and apan are mixed in equal proportion, sam means equal, then it becomes saman. And you will be told later on by our teachers that prana resides in the chest region, apan in the lower abdominal region, and saman in the belly. So saman is the vayu, vital air, which digests food, which helps in digestion of the food. So keep 1/4 of the stomach empty so that vital airs can go there and make movements, and saman vayu is produced there by bringing together prana and apan. And that saman vital air will digest your food. Now what we do is we eat up to this part, and then if something comes, we feel, oh, I must taste this, but how to? There is no space, so drink water so that it settles, and then take. Now where is the place for saman to go or prana to go? That's why one must always remain little hungry. Not much, but little. Keep 1/4 of your stomach empty so that the saman vayu can do its task there. But if you don't allow it to go, what poor saman can do? Tell me. If stomach has been given speech, it will go on abusing us daily and continuously. But poor stomach, it has to just suffer the taste of the tongue. Tongue and stomach, they are enemies, and sufferer is the stomach. Tongue enjoys all the tastes. So, before practice of pranayam and asana, mitahar, moderation is in diet should be observed. Now, mitahar is linked with brahmacharya. If you eat less, it is obvious that less blood will be produced. And with less blood, less vitality will be available to the body. Because our vital energy ultimately is derived from blood that we derive from food. Because gross body, annamaya kosh, is the body surviving on food. And if you eat less, this body will become weak and less vitality will be there. Now, vitality of the body, as it is a relationship with the food, so also it has a relationship with the celibacy. Because when you create less energy in the body, you cannot afford to waste energy. And in order to conserve the vitality, the energy of the body, one must observe celibacy also. So, you will find both mitahar and brahmacharya among the yamas and niyamas of yoga. And as there are many yamas and niyamas, these two are of very great importance for a beginner who wants to begin, embark on the practice of asana and pranayama.
At some stage of the practice, the body begins to produce tremendous amount of vitality. What stage?
Yes, that's stamina. But you cannot afford to lose.
No, but that's true.
Yes.
But Bapuji used to say that
Yes.
through pranayama, body
Yes.
begins to produce abundant amount of vitality.
Vitality, subtle body. In subtle body.
So,
Yes, the pranic body becomes strong. You see, as I was telling, this subtle body, as this physical body is made up of 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air and ether. Similarly, subtle body has 3 sheaths in it: the pranamaya, the sheath of prana. Second is the sheath of mind, manomaya. And third is vijnanamaya, means sheath of intellect.
this itself explains
That's
what we have to do to purify all 3 bodies.
And this explains what you were telling.
Yes.
Bapuji, as Amritji said, Bapuji told that during sadhana, as one advances, a lot of vitality is produced as prana, vital force, but in subtle body, that is. Gross body has to be weak.
So only when you cross the gross body, then the vital force begins to...
And practice of pranayama will make your subtle stronger and gross weaker. You understand now? And you want to keep your gross strong and be spiritually high. That's not possible. Some sadhaks in India used to write to me their difficulties in sadhana, and I used to guide them. So some of them wrote that no sooner we begin this practice of yoga, our weight gets reduced, we lose weight, bodily we become weak, and our friends and relatives start saying, "Hey, what has happened to you? You have become weak. Are you sick?" So we are worried what to do. So I answered them that, well, if you love God, continue. If you love body, discontinue. What is there? You can love either, not both simultaneously. So if our love for God is genuine, do not bother about gross body. It will lose weight, but at the same time, it will not be unhealthy. That much you should understand. You see, when you start practice of asana and pranayama rigorously and very regularly with mitahar, you are bound to lose weight. But don't worry about that. With that loss of weight, you will feel more energy in the body, as he said, Bapuji was telling. Because that body is not unhealthy, it is a purer body, though it looks weak. You see? So, yes, don't keep a mirror and don't often look at it. Otherwise you will feel worried.
In America, Muniji, that's okay, because they'll feel like a model. It's very good. They like
Good,
it.
yes. So it seems to be just a reverse process. In America, in order to become a model, you have to eat less and go on dieting. In India, in order to become model, you have to eat more so that you look like a model. So now you will also understand how slowly you have to withdraw your consciousness from gross, means Annamaya Kosh, to Pranamaya. And in order to be one with the Pranamaya Kosh, what should you do? Pranayam, isn't it? You must know more about Prana, conserve more Prana within. So your Pranamaya Kosh will become stronger. And as it becomes stronger, your identity with it will be established more and more. Just now, physical body is strong as compared to the other sheaths, and so our identity is established with the physical body. I'll give you an example. We have all seen small child. As a child is born, it can never remain steady. Isn't it? A small child, his hands and legs will be moving. What is it? Tell me. His identification is more with the subtle body, with the prana. And it is the prana energy which makes his body move, because his gross body is yet weak. It is just infant. Its identity with the gross is not established. And when its identity slowly gets established, it becomes steady. And then he becomes more extrovert and he forgets about subtle body. Now, we were all having identity with the subtle body, we forgot it, and now we want to learn it. And in order to learn that, as Bible says, be a child. Very easy. You understand that?
Right. Unless you be like child, you cannot enter the kingdom
of heaven. So, children are nearer to that spiritual level. And we have learned to forget that, and now again we are learning to learn that. So, again learn how to become a child. And you will become a child no sooner your identity with the Pranamaya Kosh is established, you will behave like a child. And when you become a child that way, then asanas and pranayamas will manifest spontaneously. This is the key. That you had forgotten, I have given back to you. Tomorrow you can go home back with the key. Yes, that is the key. But how to apply it? First, begin with the first steps of Hatha Yoga, that is asana and pranayam. And when you begin the practice of asana and pranayam, you should be careful in observance of moderation in diet and celibacy. Apart from these two, there are other yamas and niyamas also, which any aspirant should observe, whether he wants to go on path of Hatha Yoga, or Karma Yoga, or Jnana Yoga, or Bhakti Yoga, or any other path, any spiritual path. All the yamas and niyamas are very important and they should be observed. What those yamas and niyamas are, you might have learned from books, but here also you will be told by our teachers in other discourses about yamas and niyamas. So now Hatha Yoga, as I said, begins with practice of asana and pranayam as we understood now. Then ultimate aim of Hatha Yoga, as I told, is to unite Ida and Pingala, stop the flows or currents of prana flowing through those nadis, and make the current flow through the third channel, Sushumna. That is the climax of Hatha Yoga. Hatha Yoga ends there. No sooner your Ida and Pingala stop functioning and the prana enters Sushumna, Hatha Yoga ends there. Now begins Raj Yoga. So Raj Yoga is a higher stage of Hatha Yoga. And so when you read the book on Hatha Yoga, say for example Hatha Yoga Pradipika, it will tell you, give a stanza saying that I am writing this book on Hatha Yoga not because Hatha Yoga is final, but because those who want to practice Raj Yoga should learn Hatha Yoga. Without learning this, there is no entry in Raj Yoga. That is why he says, I am writing this book on Hatha Yoga. So Hatha Yoga is a first step towards entering Raj Yoga. There is no Raj Yoga without Hatha Yoga. And if anybody claims, it's not a right claim. If anybody says, I have experience, it is a wrong statement. Nobody can experience Raj Yoga without practicing Hatha Yoga. So Hatha Yoga is a very important yoga for beginners, and once you master Hatha Yoga, then you are capable of practicing Raj Yoga. Ultimately that is to be practiced because Raj Yoga includes Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi, and which leads to liberation and union with God, and also self-realization. But Hatha Yoga leads up to introversion. Introversion in the sense that your identity with the gross body is lost. Your identity with the subtle body is established, and in subtle body, as I told you, you know the nadis, you know the flow of prana, so you are capable of restricting the flow of prana in the Ida and Pingala, subtle nadis, and succeed in stopping that flow and making them united, and the united flow will enter the path of Sushumna. There the Hatha Yoga will end. This is how the Hatha Yoga practice begins. Now introversion of consciousness is very important because our consciousness, as I told you, is derived from spirit. If there is no soul in our body, there cannot be consciousness at all. Our consciousness that we are and we are alive, that life is because of the soul. If there is no soul in the body, there cannot be consciousness also in the body. So our consciousness comes out of the spirit. It first spreads over the causal body, then it spreads through the subtle body, finally it spreads through the gross body. And with that extroverted consciousness, we deal with the external world, external universe that we see. Now, if we have again to go back into introversion, first we must be less involved in the external universe. So withdraw ourselves from indulgence into various sense objects. And here the sense of detachment is important. Sense of detachment. Withdrawal from the worldly things, withdrawal from the external dealings as far as possible. Only do that much what you must do, but not for the sake of doing. Only what you should and must do, you should do. To that extent, extroversion is permissible. But if you remain extroverted in the worldly things, then you can never hope to succeed on the path of yoga. And that detachment gives you sense of renunciation, vairagya. Vairagya is sense of renunciation. And that is why Patanjali has said in Yoga Sutra that yogas chitta vritti nirodha. Yoga is withdrawal of the consciousness within, or stopping the modifications of consciousness. And then he says how to achieve this. So in one sutra he says, Abhyas vairagyabhyam tan nirodha. Abhyas vairagyabhyam tan nirodha. Abhyas means practice. Vairagya means detachment from worldly things. Abhyas vairagyabhyam. Through practice and through detachment from external world, tan nirodha, the modifications of consciousness can be stopped. Bas. Abhyas vairagyabhyam tan nirodha. Yogas chitta vritti nirodha. Nirodha means stopping of all modifications of consciousness. Tan nirodha means stopping of that, means all modifications of consciousness. How? Abhyas vairagyabhyam, by way of abhyas and vairagya. Abhyas means practice, vairagya means detachment. So in one small aphorism, he has told everything that I explained for 2 hours. That begin practice, but along with the sense of detachment. He has not said only practice. In the same way, in Gita also, Arjuna asks Lord Krishna that Krishna, as you say, that mind should be stopped from running out, but I feel it is very, very difficult. How to do it? So Krishna answers Arjuna in the same way, that what is impossible, by if you practice and with detachment, abhyas and vairagya can do anything. That is the same things, same 2 words Lord Krishna uses in Gita as Patanjali has used. So these are the basic watchwords for a spiritual aspirant, that stick to practice first continuously, and along with it cultivate the sense of detachment from the external world. Otherwise you can't succeed. If you want to keep your interest in external world and yet succeed in the spiritual world, you will fail. We say in India, we are saying you can't ride 2 horses. Nowadays circus people ride, but not for long. So probably for that much time as they ride in circus, you can ride. 2 horses, when I say, the spiritual world and the outer world, material world. So you have to withdraw from the material world as far as possible when you embark on this spiritual practice. Without sense of detachment, your love for practice will not enhance as it should. So these are the 2 watchwords for any spiritual aspirant. There should be continuous practice without break and without lethargy, without idleness, and also cultivate sense of detachment from worldly involvements. And if your practice is real, genuine, and you feel interest in practice, you will automatically develop a sense of detachment from outer world. And as that sense enhances, your interest in practice will be doubled. So they are mutually supporting to each other. And that's why both of them go hand in hand. Your vairagya can help you in increasing your love for practice, and your practice, as you advance in it, will enhance your sense of detachment from the worldly things. So this is, in short, Hatha Yoga.